Hey guys, Ultra Seaboy here, and today I would like to talk about MultiVersus. Yes, I was able to participate in the closed alpha along with a handful of my friends. I've given it some time in order to simmer my thoughts, and I would just like to talk about the game, sort of share what I thought about it. Before we get into my thoughts, I would like to mention a few things. One, I'd like to give a quick thanks to WB Games and Player First Games for giving me a code to participate in this alpha. Without them, it would not be possible for me to talk about this game in this manner. That said, though, I am not sponsored by them, so I feel comfortable talking about this game in a relatively unfiltered manner, sharing my genuine thoughts, Second, the gameplay that will be shown in the video is my gameplay. The first set that will be shown here is from the first day of the tech test. Every subsequent set will be from the last day. Finally, I'd like to talk about my experience with platform fighters in order to establish a little bit of credibility. I have been playing platform fighters since Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I picked up the game during the tail end of its lifespan, and I've been in love with the genre ever since. My main game currently is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I have put in at least 400 hours into Ultimate, and I have also attended a handful of tournaments for it. Granted, I've never done better than 2-2 in a tournament, but nevertheless, I still play the game at a somewhat competitive level. I've also tried plenty of other games in the genre as well, which you can check out all of the platform fighters that I've tried on screen here. So, I like to think that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to platform fighters. With that said, let's get back to the topic at hand. What did I think of MultiVersus? I actually really liked it. I had an absolute blast with the closed alpha. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth here. If I wanted to, I could probably talk about this game and its mechanics for a full hour, but one, an hour-long talk about this game would be really boring, and two, even if I wanted to, it would be really difficult to show off without a playable version of the game at hand. So what I'm gonna do instead is break this into a handful of subtopics, and talk about those subtopics at a surface level. First, let's talk about movement, engine, and general game feel. Overall, very solid. The game feels somewhat floaty, but for the most part pretty fast. And there are a lot of universal mechanics that make it so that you can have a lot of variability in your movement. There's no such thing as fast fall, but instead, when your feet leave the ground, you get a certain number of mid-air jumps, air specials, and air dodges before you have to touch the ground again to refresh them. There's also no ledges either, but instead every character has a wall cling. All that, combined with other mechanics like dodge canceling, means that there's a lot of room for creativity when it comes to movement. So, yeah, this engine is fast, has a lot of room for creativity, and feels robust enough that most characters feel fun to handle. Speaking of characters, I do want to briefly mention my two favorite characters during this alpha, those being Shaggy and Raindog. Shaggy as a simple rushdown brawler, who I was very quickly able to pick up and have fun with, and Raindog as a zoner who fulfills a similar sort of satisfaction to me as Piranha Plant does in Smash Ultimate, at least in 1v1s. Next, I want to talk about customizability, because I was pleasantly surprised at just how much of this game you can customize. The controls are completely remappable, allowing you to set your controls to whatever you want with whatever controller you want. The user interface is customizable as well, allowing you to change things such as the colors of certain elements or the position of the damage values. Hell, there is even an option to change the number of buffer frames. Granted, I didn't really mess with this setting that much, since the default was just fine for me, but still, knowing that this is something that a lot of Smash Ultimate players complain about in that game, I was very pleasantly surprised to see that this is something you can change in this game. Next, I want to talk about the netcode, because this game proudly advertises that it has rollback netcode, which has been shown time and time again to be better than delay-based netcode for fighting games. And, once again, it's very solid. If I had to guess, I'd probably say some 90 to 95% of my matches were completely and utterly lag-free. I only really started running into connection issues during, like, the last 2 days of the alpha, but even then, most of those issues seem to be due to playing with teammates or opponents who had a bad connection, rather than an issue with the server itself. You know, something a bit funny was, I hopped onto Smash Ultimate Online with some friends a handful of days after the MultiVersus closed alpha ended. Now, I figured it was probably gonna feel a bit off, you know, like my muscle memory wouldn't be quite there, but holy shit, the connection made it feel nearly unplayable. I swear, it felt like there was something like a quarter of a second of input delay. So, yeah, MultiVersus, you done good on the netcode. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the handful of concerns I have with this game. I've had a lot of good things to say about this game, and I have a lot more good things that I can say, but I do have a handful of problems that I foresee with it. First is the lack of local play. The game has no way for two people to play on the same machine, neither against each other nor as a team. And I feel like this means that MultiVersus misses out on what makes a lot of people keep coming back to Smash. After all, Smash is a party game first, and a competitive platform fighter second. Granted, I don't think MultiVersus should go down the same path as Smash. I do think that it should focus on its competitive aspect first and foremost, but still, the game could benefit a lot from focusing more on its party aspect. Admittedly, if local play were to be added, it would be kind of at odds with the game's customizability aspect, especially in regards to controls. Are you gonna force everyone to use your controls? If not, how do you make it so that each player can set their own controls? You could make a name tag system like Smash does, but the massive amount of different customization options makes that less viable. Despite that though, local play is a feature that I would absolutely love to see in this game, and I really hope they figure out a way to make it work in a future release. And then I'd also like to bring up the Battle Pass and microtransactions. This wasn't really a problem that I ran into during the closed alpha, as the Battle Pass actually came free with it. However, I am a little concerned as to how exactly this will be implemented when we get to the open beta. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that this game is free to play, but a free to play game's gotta make money somehow, and the way that most free to play games do it happens to be really aggressive and scummy. As for what MultiVersus could do to not fall into that same trap, to be honest, I don't know. Like, I have a few ideas as to what they could do. The one that I feel most strongly about is just to make it so that the player has some way to gain some amount of the premium currency for free. But other than that, this is a problem that I know it has an answer, I just don't know what that answer would be. So, WB Games, Player First Games, try to make sure that this game does not have the same sort of scummy, predatory monetization that a lot of other games do. And maybe I'll buy into it, who knows, but if it does end up falling into that trap, I have no problem being free to play. So, yeah, that about wraps up what I have to say about the MultiVersus closed alpha. Like I said, I could probably talk about the mechanics of this game for an hour if I wanted to, but that would probably not make for a very interesting video. So I hope you enjoyed me just picking a handful of topics that I wanted to talk about and talking about them at a surface level. In general though, I had an absolute blast with this game. It does have a handful of key issues, but I am very thankful to have been able to participate in the closed alpha, and it made me very excited to be able to play the open beta this coming July. So yeah, what did you guys think? Were you able to play in the closed alpha? If so, let me know down in the comments what you thought of it, and if you agree or disagree with me. If not, feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer them. And also, what did you think of this sort of style of video? I've been wanting to dip my toes into more discussion, review, and commentary-based content for a while now, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to give it a try. So, if you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Every little bit of feedback is well appreciated and encourages me to make more content. That's all I've got to say, so, thank you for watching.